And we're broadcasting, as you probably know. Yes? I mean, even if you're watching this archived, you would know that we're broadcasting. So, hello, welcome. So, today is a very exciting day. Oh, sorry, night, yes. Title? Oh, that. Right, yes, I forgot. One second. I'm just going to leave that blank because I don't want to look around for the perfect title. So there we go. Still says simulation. I mean, that's okay, I guess. Game dev stuff. There we go. Hello, Mr. W. Hello, Kango Fango. So yes, it's very exciting because today is Friday, the first Friday, where we're going to get into some game development. Now, I have created the project. I've not done anything else in it yet. So this is truly the beginning of it. Hello, yes, stuff, yes. And on your Twitch homepage, it still says streaming train sim. I don't know why, doesn't really matter that much. Hi, hello, Slovak Eagle, welcome. So, let's see if this works. There we go. Let me just see if it actually switches. And it does. So welcome to many acting as one. For this is my game engine of choice, Unity. Yes, I came up with that 2 minutes ago, actually. Yes, so here we go. Now, the way this is going to work is I am going to lightly touch on a few things as I'm doing them, but I probably won't be able to go into that much detail of things, otherwise we won't get anything done, and I'm just going to spend 2 hours showcasing everything. Here we go. I am so looking forward to this. So tell us the basic concept of the game. Right, basic concept of the game is a randomly generated, and by that I'm not procedurally generated, randomly generated, which means pre-made content being put together in random ways. Kind of level-based system. It's mostly outdoors, kind of Halloween-y, where you're trapped in this other world and you have sort of memorabilia to remember who you were. And all sorts of creatures and things will try to snatch those away. If you lose all of them, then you get trapped there, and it's time for a new character to enter the game. With the new character, you will probably be able to free the other characters as well if you encounter them, but I really haven't thought that far into it. So, yes. They could have called it multiple acting as one 3D, but it just doesn't have the same ring to it. Ooh, oh dude, that sounds so awesome. Yes, I mean, it looks awesome in my mind. So, here we go. Quick overview of the user interface. So, on the right, this thing here, this is the inspector. This shows details of objects. This, beside that, is the project view. These are all the assets, so things like scripts, models, textures. This is all the objects in the scene. So, because Unity splits a game up into different scenes, they're like different rooms that can have different objects inside them. The thing besides that up here is the scene view. This is where I can fly around and view the game from within the engine. Underneath that is the game view. That's what the player will see. So it'll become more clear as we go along, hopefully. I concur with Mr. W. Sounds a bit like a really old RPG. I think it's called Mysterious Labyrinth. I don't know about that, but it's probably not going to be like that. So, yes. Assets. We've already got a scenes folder. I'm just going to rename that to _scenes because the folder structure in the project view is arranged alphabetically. So if I put an underscore in front of the folders I use the most, they get sorted to the top, so I don't need to spend as long searching for them. Which, yes, only takes a few seconds, but that adds up. So we need a scripts folder. And we need a prefabs folder. And prefabs are kind of like blueprints. that you can have multiple instances of, and if you change something in the blueprint, it changes it all on the copies. Don't think I've heard of that before, Mr. B. Sounds like it'll be top-down. No, actually it won't. It'll be first-person. Right, so the first thing I need to do is probably import the Unity package, the first-person controller ones. Where are those? Yeah, this is, by the way, this is the newest version of Unity. For most time I've used an outdated version, so some things may be a bit new to me as well. So where is it? Package manager should be there. Oh, yes! Right. So I'm going to, for now I'm just going to use Unity's default first-person controller. If I need to, I will make my own, but this should be fine. So where is it? It should be controllers? Oh, this isn't alphabetically sorted. Oh, sort by name. Apparently it is. Let's see, where is it? It should be, oh, right here. Controller. Let's see. 2D, no. I'm just searching for the right package to import for the controller. Input system, no. Pro Builder, no. Unity Collaborate, nope. Let's see, maybe it's not in here, maybe it's in built-in, maybe that's it. No, these are all the build. Oh, actually, maybe it's already imported. That's maybe a thing. Packages. Timeline. No. I'm sure I'm just missing it. These ones are wrong one. Windows, no. Visual Studio, Universal RP. Timeline, nope. Shader graph, nope. Quick search, nope. Post-processing, don't need that yet. Polybrush, no. Oculus Rift, no. Input, maybe it is an input system. No, I don't think so. In the purchases, nope, won't be including that. Foundation. Let's see. Probably no clue what the name is yet. No, the name is probably going to be Ghostly Venture. Psst, it says the name at the top, to the right of Sample Scene and to the left of PC, Mac and Linux Standalone. Dude, my eyesight isn't that good. I can barely see it myself. It says Ghostly Venture, yes. Right. I think because they have moved things around, the controller didn't. It used to be in the import packages thing over here, but that's apparently not where it is anymore. So I'll quickly have a look. There we go. That is the Discord. We don't need that. Unity 2019. Yeah, and there will be a lot of looking stuff up. Let's see, where is this? FPS control package. And this is the asset store. This one's probably it. Let's see. Yeah, and this is kind of the perfect example for how some of this is going to go. Like, sorry, by sounds of it, you've probably got the basic concept and mechanics rather than the plot points or anything. It's quite... the way it's in my head at the moment is a bit jumbled. I've got a lot of ideas. I'm not quite sure how to connect them yet. Script... No, there's something different. Okay, well, let's say Unity... FPS controllers, or maybe Unity standard packages. Actually, I accidentally replaced Unity. Oh. Standard assets, here we go. This is... Oh, so they're doing it via... Oh, I see. They're doing it via the asset store. That makes sense, somewhat. So let's, yeah, if I go over to Package Manager, and then go over to My Assets, might be in here, then there we go. Here are the standard assets. These are the older ones, but they should be fine. Yeah, they moved it from the... it used to be separate, that the asset store is only for user-made stuff, and... basically, almost only for user-made stuff, and Unity packages, like the standard character controllers, used to be in a different menu. So apparently they've mixed some things around. But this is okay. This is not in standard assets FPS controller. Standard assets isn't there. It isn't there. Oh, it's that second one, include Ghost in the Name and Gale Rock. Well, I shouldn't cause spoilers. But some of it, yeah. Listening to the game dev streams in a nutshell. Let's see. Shadowhaze, you missed one below. It says Ghostly Venture. Did I? Oh, right, that one. Yeah, I just read it. Right. Yep, Shadowhaze. So they're doing it the same way they always did it with the asset store. No, this package didn't used to be in the asset store. I have a feeling the chat that the chat is going to absolutely pile up in the stream. Yes, he did miss that one. Yeah, same. It should be 4 hours, then 2 hours for the actual game dev stuff, and 2 for reading chat. Yep, the star. Right, so let's import this. There we go. What do I need? I need... Well, let's see. We've got the sample scenes. I don't think I need those. Standard assets, 2D stuff. No, I don't need the 2D stuff. Cameras. Yeah, cameras are going to be good. Characters. There we have first-person character. I don't need rollerball. Don't need the third-person character. Cross-platform input. Sure, why not? Editor, yeah. Effects. Yeah, that should be good. Environment. Yeah, fonts. Particle systems. Physics materials, prototyping. Yeah, that's okay. Utility scripts. Vehicles, I don't need. I'm not going to need a jet gear lowerer. So there we go. We're importing cameras, characters, and a whole bunch of other stuff. There we go. I thought standard assets were always in the asset store. I distinctly remember searching for it in there and finding it. Ah, well. Well, then it's you probably remember that from not so long ago. The standard assets were never in the asset store. They put them in there, but like they used to be under assets. It was assets, standard assets, and then you could select what you wanted from a drop down. But apparently they changed it. So hello, 5 people watching. Welcome to the stream. Right, so here we go. We've now got standard assets here, and under characters we have first-person controller, prefabs. There we go. This is the one I wanted. So now I want to use the Unity's terrain system in this, and the way this is going to work is I'm not going to randomly generate the terrain, but rather have a few pre-made terrain tiles. Like I'm thinking 3x3, so 9 tiles in total. That are going to be, it's basically going to pick random ones, like maybe hills or forest or plain or things like that. And I'm thinking, I am going to likely change the scale of the terrain as we go. But so far, I think maybe 100 by 100 meters might be good. Right, height 600, that should be fine. That's good. Now, I want, by default, you can own, oh wait, can you, oh, apparently you can add tiles. Oh, they changed the terrains. Look, you can just add more terrain tiles as you go. Oh, they've changed a lot with this. That's interesting. Paint terrain. Raise lower, right, here you, oh, paint holes. Oh, they've added a whole lot of stuff. That's interesting. So we'll flatten the terrain to 300 meters, and then lower it by 300. So then I have the distance to put it up or down. I thought assets were always in the assets. All right. Hi, Chris. Yes, hello, Chris. Welcome. Sure. So will the terrain tiles be flat at the border of each one so they seamlessly connect? Yes, that's the plan for now. Also, new grid texture. What? Paint hole? Since when? Oh, ghost brush. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Right, so this is one terrain baseboard, but since at the moment the pivot of it should be alright, it's down there. Yeah, you can see it's in the corner. I want the center to be in the middle. So I'm going to create an empty game object, which is basically just a position. I'm going to then put the terrain as a child object of that. And then I'm going to offset the terrain by 50 meters, negative 50 meters in both directions, so that the center point of the world is the center point of the terrain, which is good. Right. So yes. Now this has created a new terrain asset which contains all of the terrain data. Let's do flatland first. So I'm going to do, well, actually the best naming convention might be first the kind of environment, the stage or act type. So let's do forest. Why not? Forest. Yeah, forest. Dash. And then flat, because this is just going to be the basic flat one. Then I'm going to need to create a new folder to store the terrain tiles in. So terrains. Put that in there. And that's good. Now, if I want to walk around this, actually let's rename this as well. Forest flat, which it won't actually be forest. We'll have a few trees, but it'll mostly be grass. It's just that's the stage name, the working name. Why is it so far down though? So that I have equal space to make it go up as I do to make it go down, which is also why I put the empty game object here, so that I won't have to deal with the origin being all the way down there when I'm manipulating it. So next I want to create a prefab of this terrain, so that I can place it whenever I want. So now if I get rid of it, I can just drag it in from here and I'll have it again. Oh right, that makes sense. I did that myself a few times. Interesting. Right, now, if I want to walk around this, I can just drag Unity's standard FPS controller in here, which should already come with sounds. So now if I actually, oh, is there an error? Oh right, because this is, yeah, that makes sense. It's the older version of the standard assets, which makes sense that there are some errors there. Does this work or not? Yes, it does. It's just a bit laggy because it was the first time I entered it. I did that myself a few times. Yeah. Buffering on my end. The errors are orange. Yes. Those are warnings. Right, so now I've put in the first-person controller that comes with Unity. So now I can walk around this terrain. It already has jumping in it and running. It doesn't have crouching, but it does have jumping and running and walking. So you can see, there's my terrain, I can walk around it, and I can jump off it. You can't see it from the bottom, and I'll just keep falling forever. Don't need the main camera anymore. First things first, I'm going to change some of the sensitivity so it's easier to work with. So maybe 5.5, let's see. What platform are you using to make this again? Unity 3D is the game engine. Yes. This feels a bit too fast now, the mouse movement. Maybe 4 is better. And by the way, I'm on Mac, if you meant the operating system. Right, so here we go. Can look around, no problem. Right. We can hear it now, yes. Also, are you going to put in a head bob feature for first person? Maybe a third person option? I'm just chucking suggestions at you. Yeah, suggestions are most welcome. Head bob is already in by default. I'm not sure if I'll keep it. And third person mode, no. No, I don't want to reveal that so far. Pretty sure it already comes with head bob, yeah. Loud footsteps, I think that would work perfectly without music in the atmosphere you're suggesting. Yes, maybe that could very well be something I'm going to do. Right. So, now, well, I need to, okay, I'm going to rename the first person controller player and then create a prefab of it so that I don't change the one that comes with Unity. Let's see, other, let's make a prefab of this by dragging it over to projects. Would you like to create a new prefab or variant of this prefab? Original prefab. There we go. Now I'll delete the terrain. It's gone. And that's because I don't want to manually place it each time. I want to, well, I want to put it in via script. Also, I'm going to rename it from sample scene to game scene. A reload, yes. Also, lighting. At the moment, it's generating lighting. I'm going to remove that. Maybe I'll put it in later. Create new lighting setting. There we go. Oh, right, I see. That's okay. Right, so I'm going to create a controller object. Now, controller objects contain scripts that basically handle the game behind the scenes, a lot of it. Lighting, don't need that. Yeah, in this case. So, controllers. Right, now time for our first script. What I want to do first is I want it to just generate a grid of 9 terrains. So I need to create the script, and I'll just name this, let's say, world gen. Seems appropriate. Then, now the way Unity works is it's object-based scripting. So I have a script called world gen. Now I can drag this onto the controller's game object, and then it appears over here. So an instance of this script is now running, or will run, on this object, which is admittedly a bit to wrap your head around, but once you kind of get the basics of it, it's not that bad. Right, so here we go, world gen. And if my face cam gets in the way, I will move it to the side. Just let me know if it gets in the way. Actually, can I zoom in here a bit? Okay, so I'll just zoom in a bit. Is that okay? So just so you can read it a bit easier. Also maybe a different, oh, that's bright. Maybe a different color scheme would be better. This one I think might be a bit better for you to read. It's a bit more contrasty. Thanks, I can just about make out the letter. Here we go, yeah. Is that okay? Zoomed in? Okay, so, right. What we need first is a new variable that will contain the prefab of the terrain so that I can just spawn it. However, because I want different prefabs for each stage, so for example, flat plain, hills, forest that I said before, it would be useful to put it into an array. So an array basically is a variable that contains multiple things. So first is, do I want it to be public? Yes, because I want it to be accessible from the inspector. It's a bit small, I think. Would be best for if you zoomed in a bit more. Like this, is that better? It's quite large for me. Like for me, that green line of text is this big. Code time! Yes. Yeah, yes. Good. So public. Next is what type of variable. I want this to contain prefab, so it's transform. Transform. Hey, this you can, if Kangafango, I know you do some coding. If you see any mistake that I make, then you can point it out because you can read it by your own admission. So transform, but I want to be an array, so I need to put these square brackets in, and then the name, which is forest terrain array. Right. Now, when the game first starts, I need to call something. Kangafango, a yesh sounds like some sort of mythical beast. Yeah. So first is I need a function void, because it's not going to return anything, and then start, which gets called the first time this script runs. Right. Now, start is okay. Now what do we need to do? Well, let's see. I guess it would be good to have variables for the size. So maybe if I want to increase or decrease the size of the map. I'm thinking tentacles. Shadow's chances of that aren't that high, but if I see a missing semicolon, I'm gonna tell you. Thanks. I suppose so. Okay. So let's do that before this. So let's do public size. Let's see. Yeah, let's do size x. Actually, no, public int size x and public int size y. And then in start, I need a for loop, which basically loops around every time it runs and increases an index variable, a timer sort of iteration variable, sorry. And then if the iteration variable meets an amount, it goes out of the loop. So the iteration variable is called I, usually for iterator, is equal to 0 at the beginning. And then if I is less than, well, let's go across horizontally first, size x, then I++. This is a basic for loop. Now inside, I need to instantiate an object. Right, so instantiate. I hope I've spelled it right. Yeah, it's a bit more difficult to read if the letters are that big. Right, so what the prefab. The prefab is going to be an item in forest terrain array, the index of which is going to be random. So instantiate. That's what I've written. Right, so we need to access the random class, random.range to be specific, and then between 0 and the length of it. So forest terrain array dot length. Maybe I'll need to add a +1 to that if it's, because yeah, might need to do that. We'll see. Although, well, if there's 1 in it, it'll always be 0. It should be fine. Right, next is the position. Where should this be put in? So it needs to be a new vector 3. Chris, is the equals missing at int I equals 0? Yes, it is. Thank you very much for pointing that out. See, that's what I need. Thank you, Chris. Perfect timing. Right. So we need a new vector 3. The x position is going to be, let's see. If the terrain is 100 meters across, then, well, let's just set it at 0 and then we'll offset it later. So x position is going to be size x times 100. So if it's iteration 0, it'll be 0, which is 0. Then 1 is 100 and so on. That's fine. Y is the up and down axes in Unity, which is going to be 0. And Z, or Z, depends on where you are, is going to be size Y, which I know is very helpful, times 100. And then the rotation is going to be quaternion.identity, which is basically default rotation, 0 rotation. There we go. This will then instantiate the thing, but we need to nest this inside another for loop because it needs to go across horizontally, and for each one it goes across horizontally, it needs to go down and then down and then down to place all the things. So I'll copy this for loop, paste it in here. And yeah, I'll actually make it this wide. That's much easier to work with at this scale. Which, yeah, that's the thing. In Unity 3D, the y-axis is up and down, but in Blender, the z-axis is up and down. Yes. All right, so y. And actually, I'm not going to use I for this. I'm actually going to use x here, because I need to nest them inside each other. So x for the x-axis, y for the y-axis, or z-axis, rather. And actually, no. No, this needs to be x and y, because it needs to be iterated upon. Right, so let's see if this works, or if we'll get a lot of errors. And it compiled. Great, so let's just do 3 by 3. And in the array, I'll drop in the terrain prefab. So now, let's see if this works. Actually, I need to put on or off maximize on play. There we go. And yes, we see we've got one terrain here, one there, and then 3 more over here. So it's placed down all 9 terrains because I've got 3 by 3, and that's fine. Now I just need to offset it. So it starts off there. So I need to put it left and down. Basically just by half of the size. So times that minus, actually no, it needs to be, wait a minute, if that is the size, oh right, it's the size, oh I see, x, anyway, you could have different walk speeds. Or maybe a slower one and hold a button to run. That's already built in. If you hold shift, you run. Right, so let's see. It's that times 100. So if I just do that, let's see. Okay. Well, I'm just going to leave it like this. It's going to be easier to work with. Actually, is it there? No, I'm just going to put a new vector3 variable and then just add that on top of that. That'll be easiest later on, anyways. Let's see. Let's do offset. No, vector3 offset. Vector3 offset is equal to new vector3. And then the offset should be size x divided by 2 times 100, 0, and I might make mistakes. A lot of trial and error goes into this with me. Size y divided by 2 times 100. If I do this, plus offset, let's see if it works. This should, actually no. Wait, is it working? No, it's not. It's put it. Oh, I see what it's done. Yeah, it's put it. I need to. I need to make it negative. Sorry. Right, negative size. Yes, you can just adjust the walk speed. Yes. I think I just programmed the greatest TGV scenario ever. TGV? Oh. Do tell. Print, it works. Yeah, I know it's out of the things happening on stream, but I had to. Okay, the game Vulcans? I don't know. Okay, so for, let's see. No, it's, I think I've got a thing disabled here somewhere. Let's see. Oh, this is the thing. Oh, I see. Right, so this is wrong. 0, 0 is there. The first one it does is there, so it needs to be, well, one axis is right, X is right, Y is wrong. No, Z is wrong. Why is that wrong? Let's try it like this. Speaking of acronyms, be right back. Okay. Right, okay. Right, so now it works. It turns out that I should not have inverted the y-axis because it's kind of already... Right, there we go. 0, 0 is right there. Right? Oh, right, I changed the position of it. No, which means it was probably working. It's just because I changed the position of it. Right, that makes sense. It was working, never mind. There we go. I thought because it was inverting it was, but it's not. That's okay. Right. Go in. Oops, not twice. Why is Z wrong? Oh, I see. Yes, it's fine. It's working now. It's offset. There we go. So the center one is right there. Makes sense. Now, if I go over here and make it say 5 by 5, then yes, the center one is still in the middle. That's exactly what I want. Right, so let's do 3 by 3 again. Right, so I want to next do... I want to do a back. Okay, hello, welcome back. It's working. Right, so next I want to do a hilly one to see if the random selection works. So if I create a 3D object, terrain, no, not ragdoll. Do not want a ragdoll, I want a terrain. And there we go. I want to see if I can put in the... I should be able to put in the terrain data manually. Or maybe it is... Yeah, I think I need to put it on debugging mode first. Where is that? Up there. Into debug mode, which shows me the terrain. There we go. New terrain, I'm going to delete. Copy this, forest, hills. Then going into the terrain, I can just drop this in there. Does it work? Not sure. Is there anywhere else I need to put it? Let's see. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work. I'm not sure why it should. There are some bugs in Unity. Not many, but there are some. Oh, right. Of course, it's up high. That makes perfect sense because I need to lower it by 300 meters. That's why it wasn't working. Right, so now I'll create a new empty game object, name that, which is going to be the parent object. Alright, the game Vulcans are more fun though. I think the train's more fun, to be honest, and I don't know what that is. WB, okay. Have you ever been on a TGV? Nope, looks like a style of bullet train. Kind of, yes, it is a high-speed train, French one. Looks like... right, so how do you know that the others are more fun? I'm just imagining a bunch of Vulcans gaming. Your playstyle is highly illogical. Very interesting. Right, so... what do we need? Forest... hills. Let's zero this out. Then do that. And there we go. This well, needs to be at -50, -50. And there we go. Now we have another terrain. However, with this one, I want to put in some hills. So we'll see how this works. So raise a lower terrain. I want a very smooth shape. Oh, that's really nice that it highlights it. Oh, that's nice. And it looks like we don't have that many brushes at the moment. That should be fun. So I'm going to reduce the opacity a bit. Increase the size. Not that much. Yeah, they do give you huge brushes in Unity. That is great. So maybe not that much either. Maybe something like this. I see. Right. So you can see I can just draw on the terrain a bit. Now at the moment, the terrain is going to have flat edges, which Kangfanga already alluded to, because so that it seamlessly transitions from one terrain to another. But yeah, it's not going to be that obvious in the game, but I might change it as we go on. We'll see. Right, so I just want some hills on this. Right, so let's see. Something like this, maybe. I think that might be a bit too tall. I don't want to give the players too big of a view, so I'm actually going to decrease the sensitivity a little bit more. Going to increase the size, and I'm just going to generally push things down a bit more. Just sort of like this. Yeah, that seems better. Although I won't know for sure until I've actually walked around it. Because there's not really that big of a sense of scale for this at the moment. They are high-speed trains. I'm not sure about the term bullet train. Applies to non-Japanese trains. Shadace, hey, you could use your own ground textures for this. I could. Bullet train applies only to a Series 0 Shinkansen. Yes, but I have heard it used for other high-speed trains as well, which I know it's not accurate, but yeah. Phrase bullet train has no reason to apply to any other high-speed train anymore, since all of them are more bird beak-like. Yeah, true. Why only the Series 0 Shinkansen? Because it literally looks like a bullet. Yes. Yeah, Shadice, this reminds me of trains terraforming. Yeah, it does a bit. Right, so here we go. Now I'll create a prefab of this. And now I'll put the hills one in the array as well. So if I play, I should... Yes. Well, two things happened. Three things. One, I did accidentally not have it flat. I'll fix that in a bit. Two, the player fell through the ground because it spawned underneath the collider because it spawned in the hills. And three, you can see it's working. It's randomly chosen 3 hill tiles and a few other flat tiles. The seam! I know, I've seen the seam. Right, which I am going to fix right now. So, let's see. Open up the terrain. And I'm going to set height to 300. And like this, I can just kind of draw along the edge a bit. No, that's the wrong one. Oh, is it world height or... Why is that going up? That shouldn't be going up. Oh, right, world height. Local height is what I need. 300. Let's choose a bit of a softer one. Should be good. Sort of like this, and then along here as well. 6 flat tiles. Yay, it's fixed. Yes. Or at least you thought it was. Right, so yeah, that should fix it. And because it's a prefab, it's already applied to whenever it's generated. Now, to fix the player falling through the ground at spawn, I'm just going to move the player object up a little bit, and I'm actually going to give the player a tag. Not a tag, an icon, a text. So that if a gizmo, that's the one. Oh, that's what was not enabled, I think. Strange. Oh, there we go. Yes, that was what was not enabled. There we go, that's the player. There. So now if I go in, you can see I fall down, land on the ground, and I can walk around this area. You can see there are the hills, and these terrain objects automatically include lodding, so level of detailing, which means that, well, I need to just move this a bit, it's a bit jaggedy. But yeah, which means that you don't have to worry that much about having high resolution terrain far away, because it means that the terrain will be at lower resolutions if it's far away. I think this is okay. Although I have a feeling that the tile size is maybe a bit too small. 100 meters by 100 meters. We'll see. We'll see. Jumping seems kind of unrealistic. Sort of maybe. Yeah, you're right. It does. It does. But that is something I can change later easily. I'm just gonna leave it as is by default. Right. So let's see. We've got those two. It's fine. What's the next step? Next step is reading chat or jumping whilst running. Maybe add a stamina mechanic so you can't run for too long to escape the beasts. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure if I will have. Maybe I'm just gonna disable running. I don't know. We'll see. It just kind of forms around as the game develops. But that is something I will consider. So, the tiles do generate. I'm going to actually zero this out so that the player generates at 0, 0, or spawns at 0, 0. So world origin, in other words. Next is... Okay, that works. Let's see. Disable running? No! Ghost of Mansions already does that. Oops. Oh no, it's fine. So, next thing I want to do is get the basic, I mean, literally, most bare bones you can imagine gameplay mechanic down, which, while it may change as we get the game more finished, at the moment, I've planned, so to basically have gates at the edge of the map, like maybe one for each cardinal direction, well, north, south, east, west, and then to have you find key or maybe multiple keys or something like that in the world, or maybe purchase them, I don't know yet, and then depending on which gate you go through, may bring you to a different style of level next, which has different items spawning in it and things like that. So what I'm going to do now is basically put in the gates first, and then make the make the key. So spoilers, klaxon, spoiler alert. My ears are ringing. How would you purchase them if you're trapped inside this whatever it is? Well, you're not alone. There are plenty of other creatures there who might... Well, some of them might want to chase you to steal your things. Others might want to trade with you. Others may just find your company interesting. We'll see. Right. So, let's see. Well, okay. I'm going to face. Why face? They want to steal your face. Oh, no, not your face. Not your face. No. Right. So, I'm going to leave the size of each tile as 100 by 100. No, it's too small. I'm going to double it. I'm going to double it to 200 by 200. That should be better. So, I can actually just change the size of the terrain here, hopefully, without changing the stuff, which means I need to put that at -100. -100. It's better. Now hills, let's see if this resets the terrain data, which is not too bad if it does. Let's see, 200 by 200. Nope, it's okay. Augment the position. There we go. Actually, I need to apply this. I forgot it with the other one, because obviously it changes the position as well, not just the terrain data. So there we go. Override the prefab. Now I need to go to the script and change this from ×100 to ×200. That's all. Hopefully. It should still work. Okay, let's try it out. And yes, it does. So now you can see that the hills are far more stretched in both directions. So now the map, instead of being 300 meters long, is 600 by 600 meters. Which, I mean, this already feels much better. having a bit more distance. Any idea what genre this game will be? I'm going to say probably... I'm going to say an adventure role-playing roguelite. Not roguelike, but roguelite. There we go. My guess is mystery thriller? Nope. Looks like a desert. It does. Yeah, it kind of is. I mean, there is no rain here, no precipitation, so it might literally be a desert. Right. Roguelite means, well, okay, some people met in, I think, well, they met somewhere, they decided what the term roguelike and roguelite means. Roguelite is, not light, yeah, like L-I-T-E. It means having some of the elements of Rogue, the game Rogue, which means basically, quotation marks, permadeath, as in, you won't actually die in my game, but if you can lose and you can't respawn, basically. 2 is that it is encouraged by having, it's designed to have multiple runs. You go as far as you can get, and then if you fail, you just start over, maybe with some benefit, even if the benefit is just knowledge, we'll see, and to basically have multiple runs of the same game. So it's not just one game you play through, but you can do it multiple times, and of course RNG, so random number generation, so basically things are put together randomly each time you play. So that is, I think, a vague definition of roguelite, because roguelike is more like the game Rogue. It's quite complicated and you don't really need to know it. Oh dear, oh dear, no, it's not gonna be that bad, don't worry. Right, so, gates. Shut eyes, nah, reset the player's knowledge each time they lose the game. Well, if I did that, you wouldn't know I did it. Right, so I'm going to manually put in the gates now. I may generate them later. So first of all, I'm going to create a parent object, which is just going to be gates. Going to 0 that out, so put it at 0, 0, 0, which is there. Then I need to, well, for this, I'm just going to put in cubes as a test thing. Size, let's say, well, let's do 5 by 5, well, 5 by 5 by 1. There we go. Kind of like this. Well, let's do, well, 5 by 5 is good. 2.5 up. There we go. So now we've got this. And actually, I can disable the effects in here, which makes it a lot easier to work with. Well, maybe not all of them. Fog flares, post-processing. I don't want the skybox. Yeah, not having the skybox is definitely going to make this easier. I can even disable the lighting, which might make it even easier, but I'll leave it enabled for now. So this is going to need to have a trigger collider, which means it's gonna you can walk through the collider, but it will trigger something. No, Bad Kango, don't give him ideas. Wait, did you just reset my knowledge, Jardice? No, I didn't. Sorry, I should have never done it. Textures will presumably be the last thing you do. Today, you mean? I'm not sure if I'll get to them today. Not the very last thing. I'll get to them fairly soon. I'll texture you if it's the last thing I ever do. Yeah. Right. So we've got a trigger. This I'm just going to rename to gate. Then let's see. This is going to be the north. Well, actually, the north gate. So I'm going to position it. Let's see if that's 200. So it's 200. So 200. Well, 300 meters. So it's going to be 300 meters that way. The west gate. Well, let's do east gate first. East gate is going to be 0 meter on this axis. Well, actually, it's going to need to be turned 90 degrees. And then on this axis, 300 meters. Then the south gate. which is going to be turned 180 degrees and negative 300 meters positioned. Basically, I'm just trying to position these on the edge of the map, like I said before. Then west gate, which needs to be turned 270 degrees and at negative 300 meters. So now if I go into the game, you can see that we've now got these gates at each edge. Unfortunately, hills have generated this, so we can't see them, but I'll just walk over to this. There you can see, there's the gate. Yes, you see, here's the gate. And I can walk right through it because it's got a trigger collider, which is what it's supposed to have at the moment. Right. In general, oh, I see. No, I'll get the basics of the gameplay loop down so that you can get the key, carry it, or keys, maybe. Well, in this case, probably key. You'll get the key, you can carry it to the gate. If you go to the gate with the key, then basically just resets the level, which will actually, in the final game, be replaced by going into the next level. But for now, and then I'll probably do Texture Paradise. Will you make the gates child objects of the terrain tiles? No, I won't. Yes. Right, so I've got the 4 gates. I'll actually give them a little tag as well. But that's too far away to see anyway, that's okay. Right, actually, did I? No, that should be fine. Right, so next, what to do? Next, we need another script, which is going to be the level gate. And I'm going to put this on each gate. There we go. So this one has it, this one has it, this one has it, this one has it. It's down here, by the way. Imagine a game where bricks are the collectibles and keystones are the special pickups, where there's maybe only 10 on each level. That would indicate arches. Key reminded me of keystone. Oh, I see. Yes. So now let's go into this script, which means I need to quit that instance of Sublime Text, because I use Sublime Text, not Visual Studio, because Visual Studio is owned by Microsoft. I don't like installing things made by Microsoft. So, I mean, this has the annoying thing that if you double-click on a script in Unity, it opens up another instance of Sublime Text with the scripts open. So it's a thing you get used to. Anyway, so what we need here is we, first of all, need to detect when the player enters the trigger. So we need... there's luckily a function that already does that. Burn on Microsoft. Ouch. Yes. Definitely, yes. Oh, that's the perfect idea, Shred-Ice. And once you've completed an arch in the hub world, you'll be able to get to the next level. Yeah, if you want to make that game, go ahead. So we need on-trigger enter, which is a function that's already in the Unity Engine... I think it's Unity Engine namespace. And then that comes with a variable, which is going to be a type of collider named other. And then we need to check if the other collider, so the collider that went into this trigger, has the tag player. So if other, which is just referencing this up here, dot tag, so dot something means you're accessing something to the left of the dot. So for example, here, other dot tag means you're accessing the variable tag within other. Yeah. Equals to player. Let's just print you've won. Okay. Through the arch, XD, thanks. Other.tag player. Right? Nearly had it. for the equals. Yeah, I mean, this is a learning process for us all, including me. So, yes, now I just need to go to the player and actually give the player tag. And I'll actually move the player a bit closer to one of the gates, so maybe 270 meters. So that now if I play, you can see I spawn over here, closer to one of the gates, so I don't need to walk all the way. So now if I go in here, actually you won't be able to see it. Right, let me quickly change something in OBS. There's a hotfix. The webcam, I need to unlock it first. I need to move this up ever so slightly, just to sort of about there, and then the chat box as well, just so that there is space at the bottom for you to see the bar at the bottom. That should work, because that's actually quite an important part of this. Oh, why is that changed? Oh no, I know what I've done. I pressed Command S. Yeah, that's the thing. In every other Mac application, almost everyone, if you press Command S, it saves the state. In OBS, if you press Command S, it resets the size and stretches it to the thing. So, there you go. Luckily I noticed it. Imagine if I had gone on for ages without noticing it. That should be fine. Yes. Oh, I'm being moved. Oh, it didn't. It stretched it. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, I thought you did. Did you have to start again? Start what again? What do you mean? Is that right? Can you actually see the bottom of it? Yes, you can. The game. No, I didn't. It's fine. So now if I walk into here, at the very bottom left of the screen, you should see some white text appear. Which, there, it says you've won. In the very bottom left of the screen. And there you go, which means it works. The player walks into the gate and it prints a statement. Right. There we go. What's next? Well, next we need to check if the player has the key, and if the player has the key, then it's going to allow us, otherwise it's not. No, it was only the chat box's size that was resetted, yes. For this I'm going to create a new controller, which is going to be called MISC controller. And I'm going to put that on controllers as well, on the game object. There it is, MISC controllers, MISC controller. Continue to quit that. There we go. And we need a static variable. Now, static variables are always the same. So with normal variables, you can have an instance of this script running here and one running here, and this one can have a variable like this, the other one like this, and it's all fine. With static variables, they're all synchronized. They're all going to have the same state of a variable. So let's do public static bool for boolean, so true or false. Player has key. There we go. And right now, actually, I need to go into void start here. So I need to set that to false when the level starts. Actually, no, I can do that in the gate. That's fine, because I don't want the player to start with a key. Oh, the NPCs will be able to grab keys too. Will the no, I don't think so. Right, so now let's replace this with. Right, so if the tag is correct and MISC controller dot player has key, which if you're dealing with a Boolean variable, you can just put the name of it in and it will by default ask if it's true. If you want to ask if it's false, you can put an exclamation mark in front. Or if you want to write it out, you can write equals equals true or equals false. But doing it like this is just quicker. Right, I did key.blend, maybe. Right, so here we go. Now, if the player has the key, it will do whatever's in here. If not, it won't. The first thing we need to do is remove the key. Exclamation mark means not. Yes, it inverts the statement. You're right, essentially, yeah. So player has key is equal to false. So after something has entered the collider and it has the tag player and the player has the key, it's going to take the key away from the player, and we need to reload the scene, which I'm not sure if they've changed it. Let's see if they have. Application dot load level. No, it's not application, it's scene manager, right. Using Unity Engine dot scene manager, or maybe it's scene management. Not sure. It's the wrong one, this one. Yeah, it's not that. I'll look it up, which is very helpful because this is the Unity documentation. So if I go to load level, application. Oh yeah, it's scene manager. Scene manager.load scene. That's the one I need. So scene manager.load scene. It's it's called scene management, not scene manager. Management. Is that right? Yes, that is right. So what we need is scene manager.load scene, and then probably scene manager.active scene to reload the current scene. So let's see. It's going to change that. Scene manager.load scene, then scene manager.active scene, I think, .name. I think that works. Essentially, yeah, application.quit. Not sure if it should have the parentheses or not. Yes, it should, because quit is a function. Scene manager does not contain thing for active scene. Right, let's see. So scene manager, let's see what variables does it have. Scene count, nope. Oh right, it's get active scene. Right, that makes sense, because it's a function after all. So scene manager.get active scene. That should work. By the way, if there's text in the bottom left, it means there's an error. Cannot convert. Oh right, of course. .name. There we go. Because load scene needs a string, which is a name, which it hadn't had before. Right. So nice. Isn't parentheses like that? I thought we called brackets. I think that parentheses is anything that encapsulates words. Like the first ones, yes, there are parentheses, but they're actually quotation marks or quotes. Brackets are also a type of parenthesis. At least I think that's the way it works. I think they're both types of the same thing. So now if I play, nothing should happen when I go into the gate, because I don't have the key. And yes, nothing does happen. That's good. Now I need to change it so that the player has the key. So it's equal to true by default. Player has key. Oh, right. Good. Now it should reload the scene. And it does. You can see. It just drops me right in here. But you can see that the terrain will be different each time. So at the moment, we spawned on hills. Now I go in here. And wait, why did we fall through? That's strange. That's not supposed to happen. Be right back. Okay, sure. Let's see. Hills. Now we go through. Hills again. Oh, right, of course. Of course. Because we're taking the key away. So now if I disable... No, not that one. If I disable the player taking... the key being taken away, then try it again, we should always have the key, which means we should always be able to go through the gate. Yeah, see, this is one of the things that I really, really like about coding, which is that if there is an error, It's most likely your fault. And you can see, now it's flat, the tile we're on. It's flatland. Now if we go through again, might be hill. Nope, flat again. I just want to get one more hill and then go over to the next thing. There we go, hill. Great, so it's working as intended. Now let's re-add this. By the way, if you type 2 slashes, it comments out one line, which means that line will not run. It's mostly, well, it's supposed to be used for notes, like for example, this takes away the player's key, so that won't run. Back, hello, yes. So 2 parentheses like this makes sure that this line doesn't run. If you want a whole section to not run, you need to type slash star or asterisk, no, not asterisk, asterisk, and then asterisk star to end it. I just want to get one more hill. An hour later, there we go. Welcome back. Yes. So, can you just type in what you want an action to do? This takes key away key. This takes away key. You'd need to make the framework for that. So, for example, if I comment out like so, if I write text normally, like take key, then it's going to interpret this like code. So it's going to think, okay, this is something, like maybe a variable or function, and then the name, and then dot, so you want to access something inside this. It's not going to work. This is going to throw so many bugs. If you write slash slash, so double slash, and then write something, take key, for example, then it's just going to ignore this. It's just going to ignore this line. Anything that's this dark gray color, it's going to ignore. So if you want to actually do something, then for example, you can create a new function. So for example, void take key, then you can put all of the code to take the key in here. And then if you want to take the key, so for example here, I can just call that function. So take key. So now so now it runs down here. Then if it gets to this line here, line 14, you can see it says take key, which means it will then call this function, run everything inside this, which means you can avoid having duplicate code and things like that. You can also call things, and it's not as complicated as it sounds. Key.transform to position, mind explodes. What are explodes? No, exoloads. So you label something as key, and label an action as take. It works a bit different like that. It works a bit differently. Don't worry, you don't have to understand how it works at the moment. You'll get a hang of it as we continue. Exolode sounds like a part of the human body. Yeah, explodes, yes. Right, so what do we need to do next? Next, I want... my Buane. Aww. Next, I want to actually put in a key that we can collect. So, let's do that. Let's just do a red box so far. So I'm going to create a new cube. Actually, no, I'm going to create an empty game object and then parent the cube to that. Let's do key. Let's zero this out. Actually, I'm going to put the directional light up much further, so it's not in the way as much. Cube 0, 0, 0. Let's put the cube as a child object of the key, and then there we go. Now let's create a material to make this red. So I need to create a new folder, underscore materials. Right. Then create a new material. Let's just do red, because it's just going to be red. Apply that to that. Now, if I change the color here of this material, it's going to change the color of all the stuff that's applied to. Will the key eventually get proper graphics? No, it will not. Whatever you say, whatever you say. Right. So I'm going to remove the box collider from... Oh, I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to add a rigid body to the to the key object, which means, yes, I've given up. I want to do this thing. I don't want to read your weird face words. Right, so a rigid body over here, this is a script that comes with Unity, which basically gives an object physics. Right, I'm going to spawn it, say, 5 meters off the ground by default, so up here. So now, if I enter play mode, this should fall onto the ground and hit it. And it did. You can see, I'll replay it. You can see it falls down and hits the ground. And that's exactly what I want. Right. You can wait. I know I could, but I don't want to. Weird? Yes. A face that has a mouth like this, I would say it's weird. At least for a human. Right, so we've got this. Now, I want the player to be able to go into a certain radius of the key, and then if they... actually, do I want that? No, I want the player to look at the key, and then if they press maybe E, they pick it up. So, firstly, I need to move the player back over here so that it's easier to test with. I agree, it's kind of weird. Good. There we go. And where's the key? Did the key fall through the floor? I think the key may have fallen through the floor. Yes, it has. So I need to put the interpolation to interpolate so that doesn't happen. The key looks a bit like a brick at the moment. Yes, it does. So, actually I'm going to maximize on play again so that you can see it better. Nope, do not look at that. That is not something you need to do. Banned. Ban it. Yes, I have. So, you can see, here is the key. Now, I can walk over it. It has collider, it has physics, that's fine. But I want to look at it and be able to pick it up. So, 9 seconds delay. Okay, that's fine. So to do that, I need to put a raycast script on the player. What a raycast is basically a line that gets extended from one point in a direction, and then it registers if the line hits something, or the ray hits something. So let's do that. So new script, player. Let's put that on player, game object. There we go. Right, so let's see. This needs to happen every frame, so we need to have the void update. And I do remove it because it does add spaces instead of tabs in front. You should hide that brick somewhere in the release candidate of the game as an Easter egg, along with an achievement that says brick goes in brick hole. Right, because it's key. Not convinced by that. Update. Now, what we need to do is we need to check if the ray hits something. So, if physics.raycast. I'm just going to look up the syntax because it's been a while since I've used this. Actually, I'm going to use this window, that's fine. Physics.raycast, right. Origin, direction, distance. And I think I need out as well. Yeah, there we go. Transform, oh, that like that. Okay, so it is position, direction, out variable, distance. That's okay. So position. Well, it's supposed to, or since it's supposed to send the ray exactly where we're looking, it needs to the origin needs to be the camera. Do you think you will add a crosshair dot in the center of the screen? Yes, I will. I will. It probably won't. Well, I will call it crosshair simply because it's, or maybe I'll just call it dot. This crosshair has too much of connection with weapons. Yes, I know it's used for aiming, and aiming itself, the word, has connection with weapons. But that's fine. And if so, do you think you'll make it follow your view slowly with a smoothing effect? No, because that would be really very annoying. I know that you're laughing. Right, so we need a reference to the camera object. So we need public transform. Actually, no, we can just use camera.main for that. That's fine. So, is it raycast like that, or... Oh, it's lowercase c, that's fine. Raycast, so, because the camera class has a variable called main, and that is just the camera that has the tag main camera, which is the player's camera at this point, so it's just shorthand, basically. Shy Dice really does read people's minds. I do, I know. Right, so next thing is we need to put in the direction, which is just camera.main. Actually, what is... I wonder what type of variable that is. Let's just do .forward. If it's... this will work if it's a transform. If it's just a camera... I'll do... Actually, let's do .position. .forward. Right, next we need an out variable to store the information of the object that we hit with a ray, which is things like the tag or name or distance or where it is, things like that. So we need a private variable, which is raycast hit, called hit, and then we need to do out hit, and then the distance, which I'm actually going to make public. So public let's see, interact distance, and then interact distance is going to be put in there, which is the distance how far we can interact. Let's see if that causes errors. Right. Oh, did I forget something? Oh, right, I forget the... Right, it needs to be a float. Oh, right. Camera... Oh, right, so it is of type camera. So main... The variable main is of type camera, which means transform. We need to get the transform component of that. That should not return any errors. By the way, I'm looking at the very bottom of the screen in Unity. If there are errors, there should be red text there. And we're not getting errors. And I am actually going to move this up. Actually to the very... Sure, let's open the prefab and do it there. I need... Because... Oh, right, no, I need to apply it first, because it's actually not on the prefab yet. So I want to have this script happen at the top. Right, so at the very top. There we go. Distance, let's do maybe 3 meters. Actually, can I put in a... Where would the layer mask go? Array, max distance. It says it's going after the distance, which means it's probably going to go at the end there. Yeah, Unity's text is really tiny on stream. Not sure what I can do about that. I wish you could change Unity's resolution to something like 1280 by 720 or something. Maybe not that low, but still. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll have a look at it for next stream. Right, so objects in Unity can be on layers, and the physics system can be made to only interact with certain layers. So for example, the issue I would run into now is if the player looks down, then the ray sent from the camera would hit the player's collider. So it wouldn't actually hit the floor, which I don't want, because you can't see the player, which means it needs to ignore the layer that the player is on, so I need a layer mask for that. So public layer mask, let's do interact mask. Then here, let's do interact mask as the layer mask you can interact with. Right. So I wanted, oh, there's something happened. Let's just look over. Actually, I should be able to see it here. Oh yes, hosting with one viewer who is probably yourself. Thank you very much. Right, so let's make it just hit. Actually, I need to make a new layer. So layer, add layer. Let's just call this player. And then put the player on the player layer, which I know is a great sentence. Yes, change children, then apply it to the prefab. XD. Hello. Hello, Miss Lenity. Hello, Miss Lenity. Alright, XD. Or Inity, Miss Inity, I don't know. Hello anyways. Right, so let's just do everything except for player. Let's see if that works. And to test this, I'm going to make it print the name of the object it hits. So print hit dot transform dot name. I think it is Miss Lenity. Oh, okay, well, hello Miss Lenity, welcome. Right. So we fall down. If I look down, yes, it works. If I look down far enough, you can see that at the very bottom left, the little text, it says terrain, which is the name of the object. If I look all the way down, it still says terrain. Now, where did the key go? Did it fall through the floor again? I think the key fell through the floor again. That is something I will need to fix. Why does it keep doing that? Let me just look at it. Oh, now it works fine. Strange. I'll maybe try extrapolation instead. Oh wait, does it only... Huh, that's strange. Why doesn't it fall? Oh, I accidentally enabled is kinematic, that explains it. Yeah. Why does it keep doing that? Yes, I know. Let's see if it works now. Yes, it does. So now it says terrain. Now if I walk over here, it says key. So, although... Oh, of course, I know. It didn't switch back to terrain. Because I had collapse on, so that it didn't post. Yes, exactly, collapse. So now it says terrain, it says key, then it goes back to terrain. It works. It works, yes, that's good. Right. Yes. So, now that we know that we can accurately get the thing that we're looking at, I want it to be so that if the player looks at the key and presses the letter E or interact, then that should pick up the key, so destroy the object, and put the variable whether the player has key to true. So let's do that. So this means every frame it checks if the player is looking at something that is close enough, then it is going to do the stuff in here. So for example, if input.get key down key code .e, then let's do it straight away. Then we need to destroy hit.transform.game object, and we need to go to misc controller and set player has key to true, which means that over here we need to have the default set to false. Now let's see if that works. Terrain, okay, that's fine. Aha, see, it does work, but I can delete the terrain underneath myself. So for example, here you can see everything's fine. If I look down, delete the terrain, see, the terrain vanishes and I just fall. Yeah, so I need to check whether we're looking at the key. To do that, I'm actually going to create a new tag and give the tag key. Now I'm going to give the tag key to the object key. I'm actually going to make a prefab of that as well. You picked up the terrain! Yes, I did. And no, don't need to go into play mode yet. I need to actually, right here. Okay, so if we are within range, and if we press down E, then we need another if statement. We could put in a switch statement here as well, but if is fine. If hit.transform.tag is equal to key, then it should work. Right? Now, if I try to pick up the terrain, it doesn't work. If we go over to the key, it does work. Great. So I will now check if we can walk through a gate normally, which we shouldn't be able to. Then I'm going to go back, collect the key, and then I'm going to try it again. Yay! Great! Sorry. Need a bit of water. If the sound of the walking of the footsteps gets annoying, I can mute it. It's fine. So, no, we cannot go inside. That's fine. So now, let's go all the way back, collect the key, and then try again. You did go inside though. Yes, it doesn't have, it only has the trigger collider so far. Actually, where is the key? Did the key fall through the floor again? If so, that is an issue. I think it's gone so far down that it can't actually see the thing. It has fallen through the floor. That isn't great. That really isn't great. Not sure why it keeps doing that. I'll have to check that later. Should I just increase the run speed for now? Maybe. See, then I'll get that. And then I will walk back. Yeah, I can increase the run speed. Yes. Could you not, like, enable collisions for the key? It does have them, it just falls through the terrain because of the small collider, I think. I think the key falls through the flat terrain, but not through the hill terrain. That is strange. They are on, it just falls through. And it works. Now, okay, so actually let's test that. Otherwise it would always fall through. So the hill terrain, it hits. Flat terrain, it falls through. You're right. Why does it do that? Maybe for both the key and the terrain. No, it does have... Like, it's really strange. For example, look at this. Look at this. Flat terrain falls through. But if I set it to 0, 0, 0, it hits it. See? It does actually hit it. And even if I move it very far up, it does hit it. That is really strange. Anyway. Yeah, it should hit it. I'm going to try collision detection continuous. See if that helps. Yes, that seems to help. I'm guessing that it just, for some reason, turned the... Because the thing is, about rigid bodies, they, by default, turn off physics calculations if they're not moving. Maybe for some reason it turned that off, because when I put it on to continuous, so it always does it, even if it's not moving, which obviously isn't as performance efficient as it could be. It's not that big of a deal with one rigid body. But yeah, it's continuously now looking for the basically calculating physics, which means it now works apparently. Shadows, maybe make a tiny change in the flat terrain. Yay! Yeah, I mean that might have worked as well. Let's just apply that. So now, right now let's put in the dot. To do this, I will need a user interface. Let's just do canvas. And I'm actually going to switch to the 2D view. Actually, what is that on the bottom? Oh, right, that's the gate, of course. Right, so the way the new user interface works in Unity, I say new, it's quite old, is it's actually in 3D space, but projected onto the camera, which is 2D. Sprite knob, size 0.05, done and dusted. Probably yes. Although I will switch some things around. So I want this to constant pixel size should be fine. But that, well, basically what constant pixel size means that for example, if I change the resolution to very, very tiny, 75 by 75 pixels, you can see how huge the little dot is. If I go up to something large, like maybe 1920 by 1080, it's a bit smaller. So that it always has the same pixel size, basically. New as in not the ancient GUI. Yes, exactly. Scale factor scales all UI elements in the canvas by this factor. Oh, reference pixels per unit. That's fine. So this is going to be the dot, position 0, 0, size, how does 5 pixels look? Can you even see 5 pixels? Yeah, you can see 5 pixels. 5 pixels should be good. And what did you say, the knob one? Let's see, these are the sprites that are in it by default. Yes, knob is good. The little circle, filled in circle. There, you can just about, I'm not sure if you can see it on stream, but there's just a little white dot in the center of the screen now, which helps you to see where exactly you're looking at, which is actually quite helpful. Right, which means which means that I can remove the print statement because now I can see what I'm looking at. You can just about. Good. At the bottom. 1 second. Right. Good. So, double the size maybe? It shouldn't be too big. I'm going to leave it as is. We'll see what it's like when we continue making the game. I don't want it to be too intrusive. So, okay, what have we got? We've got the random terrain placement. Actually, with that, let's also make it so that the terrain gets rotated. Which actually, I know I could do with a quaternion rotation, but that can get a bit more complicated, so I'm actually just going to do it via the Euler angles, which use a vector 3 instead. Which we'll need anyway. Well, the instance of the terrain in a variable. So let's do new variable transform. Let's do t equals to this. As transform. That should do the trick. Ooh, only 90 degree steps though. Not totally random rotations. Well, I say random. Yes, I know. Right, so now t dot Euler, is that right? I think that's right. Angles. I think that's the right way of spelling that. Euler angles. Yes. Oh, it's a, yes, of course, it's a variable, not a function. Euler angles is equal to new vector 3. X is 0. Y is where it gets interesting. So, to get this to be in 90 degree turns, I'm actually going to do random.range between 0 and, let's see, what would be 0, 1, 2, 3. We would, let's use 0, 1, 2. We would technically need, well, we need 4. 0 being 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. But because it starts at 0. Okay, so now if I did like this, so it's between 0 and 3. It would work. However, if it with integers, random.range, so if it's whole numbers, it's exclusive, which means it won't actually get to the last number. So this will then, so the way it's now, so 0 from 0 to 3, it will generate a number 0 or 1 or 2, not 3. So you need to put in 0 to 4, and then multiply that by 90. So it'll be 0 times 90 is 0, 1 times 90 is 90, 2 times 90 is 180, and then 270. Should work. Yes, exactly. And then on the y-axis, actually no, z-axis we don't need anything. And that should should work. Hopefully. Let's see, where is it? There we go. I'll just quickly zoom in. I'm not, no, I did not mean to. Oh, wait, did that not work? Well, something is happening. What's going on here? Why is it doing that? Let's see, layers. I'm just going to lock and hide the UI layer so I am not accidentally clicking on it. Huh. Oh, XD. Exactly. Why is it doing that? Oh, look at that. That is so weird. Is there something about terrains? Oh, I did not know that. Wait a minute. Is it because it's static? No. Apparently terrains can't be rotated. World origin is in the middle. World origin is there. Just there. But that is so strange. Apparently terrains cannot be rotated. So what it's doing is, if it's rotating So if it's 0, 0 rotation, it's fine. Now, okay, with this terrain, for example, the parent object is in the middle, which means the terrain object is offset by 100 and 100 meters, so that's in this corner. Now, if I rotate the parent object, let's say 90 degrees, then the terrain's pivot, instead of being down here, is up here. Now, normally, this would be compensated by the object also rotating 90 degrees, meaning that it's then the correct rotation. But since terrains apparently can't rotate, it doesn't work. Try this. Maybe if you randomly inverted the X and Z scales, maybe. I don't know. I am just going to disable this. Yeah, I'm just going to disable it. I'll keep it for now. I'll disable it. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, well, so much for rotating the terrains. The thing is, I'm not sure if that was always the case and I just never tried rotating a terrain. Or if that's something new in this version of Unity, because there's the newest one. Again, I previously only used a version from, let's say, 2017? 3 years old? Or no, before that, I think, somewhat. No, don't cry. Alright, before that. Oh, XT, so weird, but it probably makes sense. Oh, Secret Island. Secret Island? Ah, maybe. I'm pretty sure it was never the case before. I don't know. Anyway, so we've done that, done those things. So next, well, let's make text appear when the player is looking at something that the player can actually pick up. So first, I need to actually show the correct thing. There we go, this is the canvas. So, right, I need some text. So UI text. Well, let's just make the color white for now. Right, so this is going to be centered in the middle. And I want this to be underneath the center dot. Let's just call it interact text. Interact text. Interact, yes. Now, as for the font, there are a few ones. There is Open Sans Bold, Open Sans Light, Open Sans Regular, Open Sans Semi-Bold, and Unipix font and Arial. You can import fonts, but that's not something I'll get into right now. So, got the text. I will want to change this via script so that it says pick up key, pick up apple, pick up pebble, something like that. I don't know. Put the text in the center and make the dot disappear while the text is active. Oh, it doesn't just come with Arial now. Yeah. Pick up onion. I would like to have it underneath the dot, actually, so you can still see exactly where you're looking at. So, but maybe I'll change it. So, yes, this is exactly what I wanted to do. Pick up, and then maybe key. So I'm just going to do XXX as a placeholder. And I'm also going to add an outline to this. So UI effects outline. So just a very, very small black outline so you can see it on a light background. Alright, puddle. No, I said pebble, not puddle. Right, so what do we need next? Well, in the player script, how would one pick up a puddle? Well, you'd use a sponge, probably. A big one, depending on the size. So, first, okay, so the way I want to do this is I want to enable and disable the text object and then set the string of the text. But basically, string is a string of characters. basically text. In programming language, text is called string, basically. So I need an object, a reference to the object, which, so here we go. Actually, I'm going to put in a header. So header, user interface. Yes. I'll show you what header does in a second. And then we need the variable, which is public, and since we want to turn it on and off, we need a game object type, because the function to turn something on and off is inside game object, and then do interact text, text, there we go. True. What hour is it? It's Giant's Punch hour. Oh, what? It's coding hour? Ah, right, okay. What hour is it? It's coding hour. Sure. Interact text. And then, because I want to change the actual text of it, the string, I need to import the user interface namespace. And namespaces are kind of other collections of functions and basically collections of scripts that you can inherit from. So if I put in at the top using, for example, UnityEngine.ui for user interface, it means that this script has access to all of the functions and everything from the Unity Engine UI namespace, for all of the things that are in there. So we need this, and then, right, here we go. So if, that's interesting. Right, so using Unity Engine, yeah, called it, yes. So here's an interesting thing. So we need to check which object we're looking at to determine what the text will say when you want to pick it up. Which means we should logically, after sending out the array, first check for the tag and then check if we press the E button or E key to pick it up. However, for actually picking it up, that would mean that we had to put the if statement to pick something up in for every single thing. So be if hit.transformTag equals key, then if input.getKey down keycode.e, and then for the next thing for pebble or whatever, we need to have this one there every time. So let's put it in a function. So void pickup. There we go. Now, I want, so, okay, here we go. Actually, no, that wouldn't work. Would it? Let's see. Would that work? Okay, I'm going to do it differently. So I'm going to can pick up. Which I'm not sure if this is a bit faster, but it's more, it's less code, so it's faster to work with. I remember I had something like this in my animatronic game, but I can't remember. Yes, of course. So, which means I need to put the code to actually pick something up in here. Which means that, okay, this needs to go over, out here, right? So it's checking if we hit something, then if the tag is key, and that's the key, then we need to call can pick up, and then in here, okay, so can pick up needs to have a string variable, which is going to be no tag. So because this needs to know which thing we're going to pick up. So it's going to pass the hit.transform.tag to that. So basically the way this works is, this is a function, it's called can pick up, and it has a variable called tag, that needs a value to be put into it when this function gets called. We call the function up here, so we need to put in a value. The value we put in is the value of this, the tag that we hit. So essentially we can get this down here. Right, and then if we press E, then we can check if tag equals to key, not cry, key. Then we can destroy it and get the thing. So it does. Okay, tell you what, I'm just making this overly complicated. Nope, I'm gonna do it the other way. Yes, it might mean more code, but we need to pass the object to destroy as well, which sometimes we may not want to destroy an object, so this is better. I know that sounds a bit strange, but trust me, it's okay. Right. So we're going to check for the tag first, and then if we press E on key, then it does this, and then if we press E on the other thing, then it does the other thing. So this is just so much easier to do. Right. So we try to hit something. If the thing we hit has the tag key, then what we need to do is enable the interact text. So interact text dot set active true, and set active is a function of the game object class. So we set it to true. Then we need to set the text. So interact text dot get component text. So basically get component gets a reference to a script on an object of type text dot text. So this is the actual text variable of the text component of the interact text object. And then the text should be equal to E pick up key. There we go. So it overrides the value in text with this. Let me just read chat. I called it Kangufango, do tell about the animatronic game. Shreddies, maybe put the chat in the bottom right for this? Or center, it's kind of obscuring the code. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Let's see. Actually, is there a way? No, that's fine. There's nothing I can really do about that except turn the chat off. Which is annoying because then it won't be archived on YouTube. Okay, I'll just leave it as is for now, and then actually I can just move this over a bit like this. But then okay, type something in chat just so we can see if it works. I think something like this should be fine. Right, something like this. Good. Mr. W, I've kind of cancelled it now, but about a year ago I had this idea for a game where you play as one single guy who runs an animatronic kids diner restaurant with a proper animatronic stage and everything. So during the night you check the entire building, fix broken lights, check if everything is in order, including the animatronics and the voice boxes. And during the day you'd tend to the customers. Ah, yes, but only an animatronic could keep up with no sleep. Aha. If the idea reminds you of something else, Mr. W, you'll know the reason why I've cancelled it. Shreddies, it'll be too late when you see this, but don't hit Command S while in OBS. I almost thought that as OMSI. Yes, I didn't, don't worry. Yo, blah 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 blah. Yes, perfect. Oh dear. I didn't, it's fine, everything's fine. Right, so this should work. but I need to disable the text object first. So the first frame that this script runs in when we enter the scene, we need to go interact text.setActive false. So at the beginning of the scene, it sets the text to false, which has the benefit that I can edit it in here, and as soon as I play, it's going to disappear. So I need to assign it. So player, and by the way, the header thing over here, you can see here it says user interface, this text, and that is what the header at line 13 does. By the way, I won't scroll a lot because it may crash if I do that. Right. So, right now, right now, the text says E pickup XXX. Now, if I go into game and look at the key, it should say E pickup key. And there's an error. What's the error? Did I not assign? Ha! Right. I wanted to assign it over here. That's why I went to it, but then I got distracted by explaining the header and not assigned it. So here we go. Drag it over there. I've assigned it. Then let's go. Right. Look at the terrain. Nothing happens. There's the key. Now if I look at it, there we go. It says E pickup key. Now it's quite small, the text. Let's increase the size of that a bit. Yes. So how about 20? And let's make it overflow so that it's not restricted by the border of the object. So there we go. Where's the thing? There it is. And there we go. E, pickup key. Right? Aha, but it doesn't go away. Aha. E, pickup key. Yay. Right. So now we just need to make it go away. So first of all, what are the two cases in which we want it to go away? Well, actually, yes, two cases. Case number one, we're looking at nothing. The ray just doesn't hit anything. Because the way this is at the moment, the ray only hits something that is 3 meters away. So if there's something further than 3 meters away, or if we're looking at the sky, the ray is not going to hit anything. So if it's not going to hit anything, we want the text to disappear. The second condition we want the text to disappear under. Right. Case number two, if we're looking at something else. Yes. So something that we can't interact with, like the ground. So for case number one, we need to put an else here. So this means if the player is looking at something that's close enough, do all of this. Else, if that is not the case, do that. In which case, if it is interactable, it should display something else, like E pickup rock. Yes. Or puddle, you never know. So else, let's just, if the ray doesn't hit anything, let's do interact text.setActive false. Right. Now, next, here, if the tag of what we hit is key, then it's fine. Else, we do the same thing. Interact text.setActive false. Now, if we put in more objects to pick up, we can put in here else if. So like this, for example, and then here we can put in if the tag is, for example, rock, and then we can put the code in there. But we'll just leave it as is, so like this, and then I'll quickly test it, and then I'll have to end the stream because it's just gone past 10. Just a few minutes, just a quick test. So, okay, it still works. Look at, okay, E pickup key is there. Let me just see how good you can see that on the stream. That's fine. If I look away, it goes away. If I look up, it goes away. If I press E, it goes away. Perfect. Right. So let me just quit this. Quit that. Go over here, and we're done. I think we did quite a lot in 2 hours. So I'll quickly, so I will Okay, so the plan for this is I will work on the game off stream if I get a chance to, which means, for one thing, you won't know exactly how the game works, which is good. I mean, as a player, it's good as a player if you want to purchase it when it's done, if it gets done. And two, it doesn't take as much time. So the next time you'll see the game, it'll likely be looking quite different. Thing number two is I'll read chat, and then I'll do shoutouts, and then we'll be over. The stream will be over. So, yay! All right. Yes. You know what time it is? Yes, I've just looked at it. Yes, 3:10 p.m. Lovely. Very brilliant. You got that from Swedar. Or Branded, I don't know. It's fun. So, shoutouts. Yes, Kango Fango, he streams OMSI 2 map building, Trains map building. It's a lot of fun. He streams on Sundays. And Slovak Eagle, he is part of the Central Europe development team. It's a huge Trains map, Trains with a Z. So, yes, he also does live streams, driving around in simulator games, sometimes map building, things like that. So have a look at that if you're interested. And this stream will be archived. Yes. And, yeah. One more quick change. On Thursdays, as you can see in the background, from 8 to 9 p.m. is going to be Train Simulator. From 9 to 10 p.m. is going to be Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 Career Mode. So yes, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to sit here in silence for a little while so that the stream has time to catch up if people are on a delay, and then I'll end it. So, as in brilliant. Thank you for the stream, Shadows. It's been a barrel of fun. Thank you. Thanks for the shout out too. Bye. Okay. Oh, thanks for the stream. Oh, you're there. Hello. I thought you might have left the stream. Yes. Bye, Slovak Eagle. And for the shout out, yes. You're probably concentrating on something else. What you said before. The TGV thing, maybe. Right. Well, bye. Yes, bye. No, it's not finished yet, and I'm not selling it for early access or Kickstarter or anything. I might do that, but probably not. So there's no point in buying the product now, which is not done yet. I am testing the TGV scenario. Yes, I thought you might be. Nice, this is harder than I thought. Bye. Servus. Bye. Yes, bye, Chris. Bye. Okay. Yeah, bye, yes. I'm just gonna wait for like 20 seconds, then that's it.